I'm trying to think back. Oh my God, there's so many years. I do know. I'll tell you what I did. I actually went to work for a television station as a reporter, as a news reporter. Not the anchor, just a reporter. And oh my God, I was so bad. I sucked
Really?
so bad. Yes, I was great on camera, had a lot of enthusiasm and everything else, but my writing skills sucked. So it was great because I had a guy, actually a sportscaster there at the station, who helped me a lot with my writing, and that helped me improve a lot. And they ended up giving me a little morning talk show. It was outside of Houston. It was on the edge of Houston, and that was wonderful. That's pretty much the beginning of my production aspect of television and film, because I'd only known acting, but I was so fascinated, by the camera and the sound and the production crew, and that fascinated me terribly. So I really started learning that side of the camera too, and I also felt like, I need to really be a well-rounded person in this entertainment industry, because if things happen to where, because I'm living in Texas, if things happen to where I'm not getting acting gigs all the time, then I really need to have something else I can, keep in the same genre, but, stick my toes in other parts of the water. So I became a reporter, then I had my morning talk show, and then one of the productions assistants in the office, her uncle was moving to Houston from LA, and he had his own production company, and he was starting it up in Houston. So I just happened to catch her with a conversation one day talking about it, and I said, wait, your uncle is moving to Houston from LA to start a production company? I said, why is he moving to Houston? And she said, because he's from here. He wants to get something started, for this area. And I was like, oh, cool. I said, well, so, does he anybody? And she said, oh, yeah, he's looking for a lot of people for his company. And he had his name, I don't know if I should even say it. We'll just call him Bob. His name was Bob. And he had a boatload of money. He had made a lot of his money from the trucking industry, but he loved film. So he had learned how to do film in LA, started his own company, and then came to Texas. And I went and interviewed with him, and he and I hit it off, got along great. And he said, look, I really need somebody that I can teach this industry to. He said, I want somebody to eventually take over my company. And I was like, well, sounds cool to me. So I went to work with him. I actually quit the television station, went to work with him, and it was fabulous. The simple fact that it was bare bones. It was knuckles. I mean, I had to learn how to do everything. I learned how to do a production board. I learned how to do day out of days. I learned how to do contracts. I learned about SAG and AFTRA. And I had to learn how to run a crew, hire a crew, fire a crew. We probably made 4 or 5 films. And it was great because I learned, after I left him, I could do an entire film on my own. I knew how to hire a crew, fire a crew. I knew about cameras. I knew about lighting. But just because I was forced to. There would be even days on set where a script supervisor would turn around. We did have this, actually. Script supervisor turned around one day and she said, I really miss my husband. She was from LA. So I think I'm going to go home now. So she left. She left that day. And he turned around and he goes, Laurie can do it. So I would jump in and be the script supervisor for that day. And they were not small films. We're talking, for independent films, they were $5 to $10 million films.
Wow.
Yeah. Every one of them went to the theater, but none of them were ever box office draws. They were B movies. So from that aspect, it was great because I really learned the production side of it. And it was wonderful because if I wasn't acting, I could do production. And that's a huge, if I can talk to actors about anything, if you have any interest in the production side of it, learn it. Oh my gosh, learn it. Because it's wonderful to where you can be, a 3D actor to know how to grasp everything, the directing, the production, And that's helped me, obviously, in the other companies that I went into, because I didn't know how to do all that stuff. So, I would go interview for either acting or production position, and they were like, "Oh, can you do?" Yeah, I've done that, and so that helped a lot as far as. But I did that. I worked with him for a few years, and then not Warner Brothers, 20th Century Fox came to Houston and did a talk show, and it was called The Bradshaw Difference. This guy was a big psychologist, had, I don't know, 20 books. So they gave him, of course, his own talk show. And why they came to Houston, I have no clue. But
I guess a lot of people needed psychiatric help, I guess.
That's exactly right. He was a really nice man. And it was fun too, because 20th Century was backing it up. And our director came straight from Oprah, so he knew what he was doing, and our exec producer was from 20th Century. I mean, we had a lot of qualified production people that worked on it, and I ended up being a production manager on it, and loved every minute of that too, and then it just kept like going on from there. Every time there's so many people that ask me through the years, so why did you not go live in LA, or why did you not live in New York, or whatever? And I did. I went to both of those places. I went to New York and to LA to work. New York I loved, absolutely loved. I went to LA probably after the Bradshaw Difference, if I can get my chronological order right here.
So you
went to LA. Yes, I did. I went to work on a show called Carol and Meryl, two comedians that were given their own talk show. I don't know why I was stuck in the talk show realm, but and they were good. I mean, they were really good. Having the talk show format didn't really work for them. They were comedians, so. But went to work out there, and this is, please, anybody from LA, please do not take this wrong. I promise you. My daughter lives in LA, so. But it was something. I don't know. It was just something when we went to LA. My husband, I went out first and worked. I was there for about 6 months, coming back and forth. And he finally decided, hey, we're going to move out there. And at this point, I had 3 kids already. Two kids. So he said, hey, we're going to pack the family up and we're all going to move out there, because this is where you need to be. Mm-hmm. But in that 6 months, I don't know what it is. It was just the air of LA. It was, I don't know. I don't even know how to pinpoint it and to put it into words. Obviously, because I don't want to offend any people from LA, because I think people from LA are wonderful people. I really do. I have a lot of good friends that live in LA. But there was just something about the air of LA. You know what it is? People in LA, for some reason, seem very unhappy to me. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is. I mean, even to this day, when I go to LA to see my daughter, people just seem unhappy. Now, I'll go to San Diego, I'll go to San Francisco, I'll go up to Carmel, any of those places, and everybody is happy and carefree. But when I get into LA, I don't know if people are just like, I'm sitting on this freeway for half of my life and I'm smelling the smog, and it just wasn't a happy environment. So I worked on the show for a year, and then the show ended. And I told my husband, I said, I don't want to raise my kids here. I said, I don't know what it is. So we ended up going back to Texas, or I ended up going back to Texas, because they never did move out there. And I don't know, you'll have to go through the rest of my resume, because I have no idea where I picked it up from there.
Wow. Actually, thinking about your resume, at any point did you have to hold down a day job?
God, I hate those day jobs, don't you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we all have to do those. Oh, I did. Sure. Yeah. Sure I did. But, I actually went to work. I went to work for my dad's company, believe it or not. And I didn't even tell my dad I was going over there. I didn't want to be hired because of my dad. But they were they were trying to start a new media department in their company. And so I applied and got it and started their media department. and loved it. Now, my dad didn't even know I was working there for like a week. And I met him in the cafeteria one day. He's like, what the hell are you doing here?
Surprise.
I'm like, well, and I enjoyed that. I mean, that was fun. But now also I need to make sure I intersect with all of these jobs. And I don't know any actors that haven't had more than like 20 jobs, but all of these jobs too, I was still doing acting. I actually had gotten my first acting agent in Houston when I was 18. I went with an agency called Pastorini Bosby, and her name was Jenny Bosby, and she was my agent for almost 30 years. Love Jenny Bosby.
Great.
It's a great agency. They're still around. So I was still doing acting stuff in between all this. I mean, I would leave, work and make up some excuse and then go audition. And then, and I did it. I didn't do a lot of stage plays because they were so time consuming. But I did do commercial work, a lot of industrial films. Texas is known for industrial films, which are like mini movies. I mean, I love them. Some of the production costs on industrial films are bigger than film. But so industrial films and then films. But in Texas, you're never going to get a lead role in a film. You're always like the one-liner waitress or the one-liner dope addict or something like that, or meth user or something like that. So, but it was great because I still had my toes in the water. And I actually, when I was 19, I did do a stage play because I had already earned my SAG-AFTRA card. But when I was 19, when we were living in Austin, I actually auditioned for a play called God's Favorite, and it was a touring rep show. And this shows how funky casting is, as we all know, being actors. Because I've been on the other side too, where you don't like somebody because they look like your ex-husband's girlfriend or something like that, so they don't cast you. But I did get cast because I was supposed to be the twin of one of the guys in the show, and he had red hair, and I have red hair. So I guess that's why they picked me to be his twin. And all the cast was from LA. I was the only one from Texas. I'm sure you don't remember. This was this is my very first professional show, and I did it with the lead of the show. I'm sure you don't know this name. His name was Shelley Berman. Shelley Berman was the first comedian ever to perform in Carnegie Hall. And he was just a snippet of a man. I was so excited. I earned my equity card in this show.
Wow.
And I didn't, this shows how naive I was because they just gave me an equity contract. They had too many. So they just gave me an equity contract. And I remember later telling my equity friends, and they're like, what are you talking about? They gave you a contract? I was like, is that like a bad thing or a good thing? They're like, no, you know how hard you have to work for that thing? So, but it was wonderful from the aspect because I'd never done a professional show before. And I always remember the day we finished rehearsal, I walked off stage, and the director came over to me and she said, we had just started. I think this is our first, second week, something like that. And she looked at me and she goes, oh, I meant to tell you, here's your check. And I remember just looking at her and I'm like, what? I said, yeah, here's your check. So I take my, check from her, and everybody else was looking at their checks. I'm like, damn, they didn't take out enough Social Security, or they took out too much. And I remember I just very quietly walked out of the theater, and I got in my car, and I sat. It was very quiet. And I remember I opened my check with the envelope, and I pulled out my check, and I was like, and I just started boo-hooing. I was like, oh my God, I'm making money, something that I love to do. I mean, I never thought that would happen. That was the very first time I'd gotten paid for doing a stage play. And oh my God, that was such an emotional moment for me. And I remember I went home with my husband. I'm like, see, I can do it. I can actually make money. But yeah, that was a really special moment on that show.
Well, you have to, how do you balance family life, acting life? It's
so much easier nowadays. I mean, it really is. I mean, not many people know.